What if I told you scientists deliberately created a ghost from scratch, not contacted one or investigated one, but they created one, and it worked. The year is 1972, Toronto, Canada. A group of 8 completely ordinary people, a housewife, an accountant, a bookkeeper, a sociology student, sit around a table. No psychics, no believers, no Ouija board, just a table. And a name they invented, Philip Aylesford, a man who never existed, a ghost who had no right to appear. And yet, something answered. The experiment was led by Dr. A.R.G. Owen, a mathematical geneticist and poltergeist researcher at the Toronto Society for Psychical Research. His theory was bold. Poltergeists and ghostly phenomena aren't spirits of the dead. They are creations of the human mind. To test it, the group didn't try to contact a real spirit. They built a fictional one. They gave Philip a full backstory. He was born in 1624, an English aristocrat, a knight and a soldier. He had a cold, controlling wife named Dorothea, but he fell in love with a gypsy woman named Margot. Dorothea found out, jealous and furious. She accused Margot of witchcraft. Margot was burned at the stake, and Philip, consumed by grief and guilt, hanged himself in 1654. This entire story was invented, written like a character in a novel. The group knew it was fictional. That was the point. Now they had to make Philip real. Starting September 1972, the group met regularly. First attempt, a fully lit room. No candles, no atmosphere, just meditation and discussion. Try to visualize Philip. They did this for nearly 1 full year. Nothing happened. Some members occasionally felt a presence, but nothing they could prove. Dr. Owen decided to change tactics. They recreated the atmosphere of a 19th century séance called table turning. The group sat in a circle around a simple card table, fingers placed lightly on the surface. Lights dimmed. They called out to Philip. Session 1, nothing. Session 2, nothing. Session 3, still nothing. Session 4, one member felt it first. A slight vibration under their fingers. Then a knock from inside the table. The room went silent. They asked, "Philip, was that you?" One knock. And answer was yes. They had made contact. The group established a system. 1 knock for yes. 2 knocks for no. And then things got strange. They began asking Philip questions about his life, the fictional life they had invented for him. He answered everything correctly, every detail they had written. The name Margot, the wife Dorothea, the year of his death, the castle he supposedly lived in. But here's where it gets chilling. When they asked Philip about things they had not written, things outside his fictional biography, he either refused to answer or gave incorrect responses. He stayed within the story they had built for him, as if whatever was responding only knew what they had imagined. Then the phenomena escalated. The table began moving on its own, sliding across the floor, away from members who tried to stop it. Witnesses reported the table pinning one participant against a wall. And then the table levitated, not just vibrated. It rose off the ground. The experiment grew so compelling that Philip was eventually called to perform before a live audience of 50 people, and the session was filmed for a television documentary. Philip showed up. The knocks came. The table moved. The audience watched in stunned silence. So what actually happened? The skeptics have an answer. Ideomotor effect, unconscious muscle movements from participants, amplified by group expectation and confirmation bias. The participants wanted something to happen, so their minds and bodies made it happen without realizing it. And there's truth in that. The experiment had no independent observers measuring force, no sensors, no strict controls. But here's what the skeptics can't fully explain. Why did Philip's responses stay inside the fictional story? Why didn't he go off script, if it was just unconscious suggestion. Random noise should have bled through. And more disturbing, the experiment was repeated. A new group, a new fictional ghost, a French-Canadian spy named Lilith. Same results. Another group created a ghost named Humphrey. Same results. Every time they built a fictional character with enough detail and belief, something responded. Some researchers believe the group was tapping into something called a tulpa, a thought form, an entity created from collective consciousness that takes on a kind of independent existence. The idea is ancient. Tibetan monks wrote about it for centuries. Your mind, combined with the minds of others, can bring something into being. The Philip experiment was never fully explained. It was documented in a 1976 book called Conjuring Up Philip by Iris Owen. It inspired a 2014 horror film called The Quiet Ones. But the real question it leaves behind is darker than any movie. If 8 ordinary people with no psychic abilities, no spiritual beliefs, just imagination and repetition could make something knock back from the other side, what does that say about every ghost story ever told? What does it say about belief itself? Maybe ghosts don't haunt places. Maybe we haunt them. If this gave you chills, share it with someone who needs to sleep less tonight. And I'll see you in the next one.